on. We've heard these myths bubbling away for the past 5 years, misleading people, sometimes scaring people, and now, nearing the end of this Parliament, it's time to take stock. First, the myth that you cannot reform welfare without hurting pensioners. We've proved that totally wrong. While conducting some of the widest-ranging welfare reforms since Beveridge, we've ensured the best deal for pensioners in a generation. It's a fair deal for those who save, with a new state pension that gets rid of the complexity, the confusion and the old means test, so that hard-working people know that it's safe for them to save. It's a fair deal for all pensioners, because our triple lock has said that pensions rise according to whichever is the highest, earnings, inflation or 2.5%. So it's more generous. The basic state pension has increased by £800 a year so far. These reforms mean dignity and security for everyone reaching old age, and they show decisively that you can reform welfare and protect pensions at the same time. Myth number 2 went something like this. You can't reform welfare because there aren't enough jobs for people to go into. It's the argument that it's not fair to ask people to do more to find work because there isn't enough work to go around. Again, that has been blown out of the water. There are more people in work than ever before in our country, more women in work than ever before, more older workers than ever before, more private sector workers than ever before. Go online, open the newspapers, and you'll find in our country a record number of vacancies. There are around 700,000 vacancies at any one time. And those new jobs are not all part-time or 0 hours, as some people would have it. In fact, quite the opposite. In the last year, over 80% of the rise in employment has been people working full-time. That's 4 out of 5 jobs. And as for 0 hours contracts, they account for less than 1 in 20 of all jobs. So there is work, and it's decent work for people to take. Now, the third myth is perhaps the most pernicious. The idea that welfare reform just hits the poorest, changing their lives for the worse. This usually comes from people who say the answer is always spending more money, who oppose every change that's made, and who defend everything that came before. And I would ask them this. Is it compassionate to leave people on the dole for years with no incentive to get into work? Is it big-hearted to leave people on sickness benefit without checking if they can work if given the right help? Is it kind to sentence people to never going anywhere, of letting people in their teens and 20s sit at home all day, slipping into depression and despair? No.